as the folks before me mentioned, as you think about expanding into Europe, they touched on a little bit of the complexity. And I think what we typically find is that the complexities with selling in Europe, if you're a domestic US business, are typically things that you're not set up to handle. And when we talk to brands about what their core competencies are, you can kind of see those towards the top of the screen. In their domestic market, they may have figured out some of the things on the bottom half of this slide, but as they look to enter a new set of countries, specifically Europe, these are things that are specific to that region. So we typically talk to them and they say, we've got the customer experience and the commerce portion of our solution fairly well sorted. It typically extends really nicely from the US into Europe. They can use the same commerce platform or the same UX or CX layer. Where they're going to have challenges is in the things you see on the bottom half. So when we talk to brands, we're typically talking about right off the bat, what type of product are you selling? And does it make sense for you to put that inventory in market or sell it cross-border? And both have their considerations and challenges, and both are pretty complex, right? And that's where our model comes in. And specifically, what it means is that as merchant of record, we're going to process the payment. We're going to do it using local payment methods, local credit card processing. And for example, in the Netherlands, right, we offer Ideal alongside things like other online banking methods, credit card, PayPal, et cetera, to make sure you're capturing that market share, the payment methods that shoppers expect. Beyond that, we're going to prevent and manage fraud for you. And then really kind of unique to our model, we're going to calculate the taxes in Europe using our legal entities and our tax registrations. And we're actually going to collect those and file them for you. So that's really core to the model. If you think about how our solution delivers value, it's really twofold. It's on the technology front, payments, tax, fraud, the integrations. We'll talk a little bit about logistics, but then it's also on what we call back office. And that's things that you would need your accounting teams, your finance teams, your tax teams, and to an extent, your legal teams to handle. So it's not just about making the technology easier to enter the region, but about bringing these back office processes and resources that you're likely not set up with, bringing those to bear for you. So we talked a little bit about tax and payments. From a tax perspective, in some ways it depends if you're shipping in country or cross border, but the reality is that VAT tax is something you're going to have to charge in almost all situations. And in order to do that, you've got to integrate some sort of technology to accurately calculate it and then to collect it from the shopper. But what people often overlook is that if that calculation is wrong, right, or if you've used some sort of configuration with your legal entities or your tax registrations, it's not right, and you collect the wrong amount, or you simply don't collect it at all, you are now liable, right, to that local jurisdiction at the country level to pay a tax you may not have collected. And so part of our solution is the actual filing of the taxes we've collected because we're processing the end shopper payment and owning the liability and audit risk as well. I think given the time here, the last point I want to hit on this slide is the logistics piece. One of our big emphasis at Digital River is cross-border. And the way we think about it is if your product lends itself, as the previous speaker talked about, to needing to put inventory in country, think about heavy or low value products that it's going to be cost prohibitive for someone to ship it all the way from the US to Europe. you're going to want to think about putting inventory in country. And as you mentioned, in order to do that and sell it to an end shopper, you're going to have a local legal entity and do all the things that go along with that. If you decide, maybe you're selling apparel, fashion, health and beauty, or smaller, lightweight, and somewhat high value products, the other option is to ship it cross-border from the US. But that comes with its own set of complexities as well. In that experience, what a shopper expects is that during the shopping experience, you're presenting prices to them in their local currency. Along the shopping experience, you're presenting prices that include taxes and duties, meaning what it would cost for that product to clear customs. And so what our solution is doing is it's actually leveraging a very complex, sophisticated integration with Avalara to return taxes and the duties throughout the entire shopping experience. So when that customer gets to checkout, the price they see there is the same price they saw when they first viewed the product. As we all know, presenting that shopper with a bunch of additional costs at checkout is a huge barrier to getting that shopper to convert. So once they get to checkout, it's all about the things I talked about earlier, presenting the right payment methods that they're used to using, right? It's about providing low-cost shipping options. And for that, we bring our carrier network to bear that ultimately focuses on consolidating lots of shipments in order to get your product into Europe at a low cost for shoppers. And then ultimately, it's about converting that and making sure that you're preventing fraud along the way. In our model, again, what we're going to do is aggregate all these transactions for our customers. And then what we do is we take care of all taxes and duties and the shipping costs that we collect. We pay to our own carrier account. And what the brand is left with is simply getting paid out in aggregate across a bunch of end shopper transactions. Once a month, we send them a payment. It's free and clear of any other obligations. And we've just simplified their entire solution for entering the European market. So I know that was a lot. I wanted to hit on that here, given the time limitation. If you'd like to learn more, Josh can share how to get in contact with Digital River. And at the end of the day, look, we'd love to talk about what your potential model looks like, whether you want to put inventory in country or cross border. We really focus on meeting you for what your business profile looks like.
Scott, thanks so much from Digital River. Also, you guys made your kind of initial start with digital goods. If you have digital goods that need process, duties and taxes and payments, that's also a category you work with, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. We have plenty of customers who are just selling digital goods, or even those like a Fitbit who are selling a physical product and a digital subscription in the same transaction.
Yeah,
right? So it's one of our core capabilities is to be able to support all sorts of business models like that.
it's really cool. I actually learned about it only a few years ago, and just seeing kind of how you're addressing these challenges. And for a lot of companies who say, look, I don't want these headaches. I need somebody who understands all these pieces of the puzzle, from the payments to the duties and taxes. So really cool. Scott, again, thanks for joining. And I know you have to go. I think I got you in within 60 seconds of your departure time. So,
Josh, I'm just really grateful you included me with the rest of these amazing speakers. And yeah, good luck with the rest of this. I really appreciate it.
thank you. Take care, Scott.